The room is quiet enough that you can hear your own breath, a sound you often drown beneath notifications, deadlines, and other people's urgency. You've been there for every victory and every failure you've survived. You've swallowed the hard news, carried the private doubts, and still shown up. Yet somewhere along the way, the world's noise made you forget your most essential bond, the one with yourself. The Stoics never confused self-love with vanity. They treated it as disciplined, clear thinking and steady action repeated over time. Marcus reminds you that your inner life takes the shape of your thoughts. When you offer yourself harshness, you shrink. When you offer patience, you strengthen. In an age that rewards performance and punishes pause, self-love becomes a tool for navigation, not a luxury. It is a harbor you build with your own hands. You sense the truth of it in the small moments. The way you defer your needs to keep the peace. The way your confidence wobbles when approval is scarce. The way comparison makes your chest tighten as if someone else's timeline were a ruler over your worth. But self-love rooted in Stoic resilience does its work from the inside. It lays a foundation you can stand on when the weather turns. It breaks the habit of begging for what you can generate within respect, steadiness, permission. This message is for the part of you that has felt invisible, too loud, or not enough sometimes, all in the same day. You are asked to remember a responsibility deeper than image to guard the soul that carries you. Read closely. Somewhere in these lines is a match you can strike in the dark. As you say yes to a deeper loyalty to yourself, you stop chasing what will not see you and you start radiating what can't be ignored. A certainty born of honest acceptance. Before you move, make it formal in your own words, like a vow you can return to when the old patterns tug at your sleeve. I choose to put myself first. It starts as a small tug in your chest, the moment someone asks for a quick favor, the moment a calendar invite appears on the one evening you'd promised yourself rest. You hear yourself say yes while your ribs tighten. You smile to reassure them even as your energy slips out like water from a cracked cup. On the surface, it looks generous. Inside, it feels like a quiet trade you never meant to make their comfort for your peace. People will call it kindness. You've even called it that yourself. But you can feel the difference between giving from abundance and giving from fear. The fear has many masks. Fear of being rejected, fear of being called difficult, fear that love will leave if you stop performing. Under that pressure, you start rehearsing a version of yourself that keeps the room calm while your truth waits in the hallway ignored. The cost is subtle and daily fatigue that never leaves a smile that doesn't reach your eyes, a life that looks considerate yet somehow forgets you. The Stoics warned you about this trap. If improvement is truly your aim, you must allow others to misunderstand your choices. When your first loyalty is to be approved of you, hand the steering wheel to the crowd and hope they drive you where you're meant to go. They can't. Only you can. Loving yourself at a high level means daring to be clear your well-being carries equal weight in the room. Not more, not less equal. Notice what happens when you betray that equality. You say yes while your whole body is murmuring no. You craft explanations to soften the boundary until it vanishes. You check on everyone's mood while your own goes missing. This is how you become invisible in a life you're actively living. It is not noble. It is not sustainable. It is simply the slowest way to disappear. There is another way, and it asks for courage the old habit won't grant you. Accept the small storm of someone else's disappointment in exchange for the long weather of your inner freedom. The people who love you with depth will adapt to a boundary delivered with steadiness. The ones who punish, manipulate, or sulk at your no were occupying a seat too close to your center anyway. Let them move back. Your sanity needs that space. This is not permission to be harsh. Stoic self-love is proportion, not cruelty. You can be generous without being available to everything. You can be warm without being walked on. You can keep a soft heart and still build a spine that does not fold. That balance allows your kindness to be real because it is no longer extracted from self-betrayal. Practice the muscle you've avoided the clean. Not a no padded with apologies you don't mean. Not a no that shapeshifts into maybe. A concise, steady sentence that honors the truth you already feel in your body. Expect your hands to shake the first few times. Expect the reflex to over-explain, to flare up like an old injury. Breathe through it. You're teaching your nervous system a new safety, the safety of being congruent. Then practice saying what you actually think when your view diverges. Speak plainly. You will not always convince them. You don't need to. Your task is alignment, not unanimous applause. Choose plans that protect your rest, your focus, your health, even when it inconveniences someone's preference for the always available you. Someone will frown. Someone will be surprised. Someone will adjust. Let those responses be theirs to manage. You are finally managing yours. Pay attention to the feedback loop inside. Each time you refuse to abandon yourself, your breath lands deeper. The heavy, breathless pressure that used to live under your collarbone begins to lift. Your posture changes not to look strong, but because you are no longer carrying the weight of constant accommodation. You start to trust yourself again. The world's volume lowers. Your inner voice grows clearer, not louder, clear enough to guide you when the room is noisy. Remind yourself often protecting your well-being isn't selfish. It's responsible. It's the only way your yes retains meaning. When you honor your limits, your giving is no longer a leaking apology. It's a choice, and chosen gifts carry a different light. You'll notice that relationships grounded in respect deepen. Those built on your compliance loosen and drift. That is grace at work, not failure. Let go of the myth that love always requires sacrifice at your expense. Real love includes you. Real respect includes your boundary. When you value yourself openly, your presence shifts from pleading to steady. People feel it without a word, the difference between someone fishing for permission and someone living by principle. Approval chasing is a rigged game. The rules change every hour, and the prize is never what you hoped. Living in truth is how you win, because the outcome is yours to keep even when the crowd changes seats. If it helps, keep a short vow where you can see it on your lock screen above your desk by the door you pass when you're tempted to overcommit. Read it before you answer texts, before you accept invitations, before you default to old reflexes that cost too much. I matter. My needs have weight. My voice is worth hearing. I will not trade my peace for someone else's momentary comfort. Say it again when you forget. Say it especially when you feel the urge to perform. You're not becoming colder. You're becoming honest. You're not withdrawing from people. You're returning to yourself so you can meet them from a place that doesn't collapse. And when the next request arrives, the friendly ask, the quick thing, the extra mile added to a week already full, check your breath. If it shortens, pause. If your body tightens, listen. Then answer from the place you're rebuilding, the one that treats your dignity as non-negotiable. The first few times will feel unnatural. Keep going. Self-respect always feels awkward at first. Then it feels like home. Write it once more, not as a slogan, but as a standard you can live by. I will no longer abandon myself for anyone else. Dawn slips through the curtains and touches your skin before your thoughts fully assemble. In that soft light, One truth stands waiting: every decision you make today will pass through a single doorway, your body. It is the threshold to your hours, the vessel that ferries you through work and love and rest. You do not live beside it, you live inside it. Socrates once called it a shame to grow old without witnessing the strength and beauty of which your body is capable. Not the beauty sold in polished images, but the earned beauty of care, the quiet glow of a steward, doing right by what was entrusted to them. Somewhere along the path, the culture taught you to treat this vessel like a machine to be overridden. Push past tired, caffeinate through hunger, numb discomfort with sugar noise scrolling. When it breaks, blame it for failing you. The Stoic view refuses that story. Your body isn't the enemy of your ambition. It is the instrument that gives your ambition a voice. What harms the instrument distorts the song. Marcus puts it simply: what hurts the hive harms the bee, and what hurts the body harms the life that depends on it. Think of the days you've tried to outrun your limits. You kept moving, but clarity thinned, patience frayed, confidence sagged. Small inconveniences felt like insults. It wasn't weakness, it was depletion. Neglect makes everything heavier, even kindness. By contrast, when you treat your body as a sacred space, fed, moved, aired out, rested, the world doesn't shrink, but your capacity grows. You walk with a steadiness that doesn't need to announce itself. Pride returns not because the mirror changed, but because your choices did. This commitment has nothing to do with chasing ideals that were never designed for you. It rejects punishment disguised as discipline and comparison disguised as motivation. It trades spectacle for substance. When you eat like someone whose day matters, the message is clear: I value this life. When you move not to atone, but to celebrate what your body can still do, you say, I'm grateful to be here. When you protect sleep as a non-negotiable, you whisper to your nervous system, you're safe with me. Begin where you are here inside this breath. Place a hand on your chest and feel the unearned gift of heartbeat. Let that sensation be a contract, then choose in ways that honor it. Water before opinion. Food that leaves you clear instead of fogged. Movement that meets you at your season, a long walk that rinses the mind, a stretch that loosens yesterday's worries, a set of deliberate reps that remind you strength is taught, not wished. Step outside and let air do its ancient mending. The body notices every one of these votes, and it rewards you with signals: lighter mood, quieter cravings, steadier focus that make further care more likely. Detox doesn't end at the pantry. It includes rooms and routines. Notice the environments that spike your stress the way junk food spikes your blood sugar. Notice the conversations that leave your shoulders raised to your ears. Curate what your senses consume: the light you wake, to the noise you tolerate, the posture you hold for hours because a chair was convenient. You're not being precious. You're being responsible with the only home you carry everywhere. None of this requires a perfect week. You will have late nights and rushed mornings. You'll choose convenience and feel the drag of it later. The point is not a spotless ledger. It's direction. Each time you course correct, each glass of water after too much salt, each early night after a string of late ones, each walk taken when your phone begged for another hour, you are teaching yourself that your body can trust you. Trust is the deepest form of self-love because it frees you from living at war with yourself. Remember what's at stake. Success without vitality turns brittle. Affection without health becomes obligation. Even joy is harder to feel when your body is running on fumes. You cannot think your way past biology. The Stoics prized reason, and reason says, protect the foundation, or everything built on it will sway. Guarding your well-being is not an aesthetic project. It's a moral one. The clearer your mind and the calmer your system, the better you can keep promises to yourself, to your work, to the people who count on you. You may be tempted to make grand vows. Resist the drama. Choose rituals that fit inside real days. A morning check-in that asks, what fuel would help me think? A midday step outside, even for 5 minutes, to reset your eyes and breath. An evening wind down that makes sleep a place you arrive, not a cliff you tumble over with a phone in your hand. These are not small. They are stitches that hold the fabric together. If doubt creeps in, if the mirror tries to reclaim the story, return to first principles. This is not about how you look under a particular light. It's about how you live inside your hours. It's about being able to lift your child or your luggage without bracing for pain. It's about a back that doesn't bark by lunchtime. A mood that doesn't swing with every headline, a mind that has room to consider the noble choice. Because the body isn't begging for relief. These are sacred outcomes, and they arrive the way most sacred things do, through simple acts done consistently. There will be days you miss. Begin again at the next meal, the next hour, the next chance to lace your shoes and step outside. Let consistency, not intensity, be your pride. Over weeks, the evidence stacks up. You notice that you recover faster from stress, that you wake with a little more readiness, that you greet the mirror with neutrality or even gratitude. That's not vanity. That's peace. Say it as a promise, not a performance. I will love myself through action. I will protect the body that carries my life. I will nourish it, move it, and let it rest. Then keep the promise in the smallest available way, today, not someday. The transformation you're after does not announce itself with fanfare. It accumulates quietly in choices that tell the truth about what you're worth. The light from your phone hits your face before the sun does. In 3 swipes, you travel through other people's living rooms, victories, vacations, bodies, balances. Your chest tightens not from malice but from the quiet story your mind begins to tell. They're ahead. You're late. It's astonishing how fast a decent morning can curdle into self-doubt when you measure your raw life against someone else's edited frame. The Stoics understood that attention is destiny. Direct it outward long enough, and you will forget your own shape. Seneca's line lands like a bell. It isn't the person with too little who is poor, but the one who always wants more. Comparison manufactures a hunger that cannot be fed because its meal is made of mirages. The more you reach, the further the horizon slides. There is a cost hidden inside this habit. You miss your milestones because you're busy auditing theirs. You skip chances to start because you're busy critiquing your pace. You overlook the ground you've won because your face is turned toward a stage you were never meant to stand on. Your confidence doesn't collapse in a single day. It erodes in tiny private withdrawals every time you treat your life like a losing bid at an auction. Self-love, in the Stoic sense, asks for a more radical loyalty, fidelity to your path, not the path. That begins with a pause. When envy stings, you stop scrolling mid-breath and return your gaze to what is unambiguously yours, this room, this body, this day. The question changes from why them, why not me, to what is mine to do today with what I have. That isn't resignation. It's a clean hand on the wheel. Let inspiration replace envy. When someone else's win flares your insecurity, translate it into evidence. Look, this is possible in our lifetime. Then narrow the lens back to your work. You are not racing strangers. You're compounding small, honest efforts into a life that fits you. Wins look different depending on what you value. Some want a crowded calendar. Others want a quiet afternoon with someone they love. Define your success, or you'll live inside someone else's definition and call it failure. Practice the redirection in your body, not just your head. Close the app and step outside. Notice air-ground feet. Name 3 things you're building that no one online can measure: steadier mornings, cleaner food, kinder self-talk. Write down the proof you'd forget: by night tasks, done urges, resisted calls, made minutes, read the walk you took when you wanted to numb out. A line of such entries becomes a ledger of reality. Momentum stops being a rumor and becomes something you can point to. Curate your inputs like you curate your meals. Mute what corrodes you. Follow what teaches you. Give your nervous system less whiplash. Comparison thrives on constant stimulation. Starve it with focused work and earned rest. This is not denial of the world. It is stewardship of your attention, which is the budget of your soul. You'll still stumble. Old reflexes will flare when a friend announces exactly what you've been chasing. When that heat rises, breathe and tell the truth. I am both happy for them and serious about me. Then turn envy into a plan. What is the next smallest, non-dramatic action that moves your thing forward? Send the email, draft the page, walk the block. Every time you act, you harvest attention from fantasy and plant it in reality. Over time, the noise quiets, the measurements loosen. You realize there was never a bracket to place you in, or a ladder to climb that fit your hands. There was only your lane wide enough to run without jostling long enough to keep you honest. When you devote yourself to it, comparison loses the leverage it once had. It can still knock, but you no longer hand it a key. Say it under your breath when the feed starts pulling at your worth. My path is my own. My pace is sacred. Then prove it in the ordinary way by doing what is yours to do here now with a steady heart. You hear it while washing a plate, crossing a street, reaching for your keys, the voice that narrates your life. It comments on your body, your timing, your attempts. It's fluent in not enough. If a friend spoke to you the way you speak to yourself on a bad day, you would walk them gently to the door. And yet you let that voice squat in your head, rent-free, calling itself honest. Marcus wrote that the soul is dyed the color of its thoughts. Let that line do its work. Your inner language stains your days. The harshness you tolerate inside becomes the standard you accept outside. You grow suspicious of compliments because they don't match the script. You avoid challenges because the voice already declared the outcome. You punish when you most need patience, and then punish yourself for punishing. The Stoic remedy is not to pretend pain isn't real. It is to bring reason and care into the room where panic used to live. Start by noticing, not negotiating. Catch the fast phrases: I always mess this up. I look awful. I don't have what it takes. Ask, is that a fact or a feeling? Most days it's a mood wearing a lab coat. Strip the costume. Replace the line with something both kinder and more accurate: I made a mistake and I'm learning. My body does more for me than any mirror can show. I don't know yet, but I can try. Affirmations aren't spells, they are reps. The point isn't to trick yourself, it's to train attention toward a stance that makes courage possible. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you hope to keep fair in criticism, generous in context, fierce in advocacy. Celebrate the effort even when the outcome is pending. When fear rises, remind yourself of recoveries you've already pulled off. When doubt arrives, shrink the task until the next action is obvious and take it before the voice grows teeth. Protect this new tone with boundaries. If a room or a page reliably makes you cruel to yourself, leave it or limit it. If certain accounts trigger shame spirals, mute them. If late nights sharpen your inner critic, guard sleep like a contract. You are not fragile. You are responsible for the conditions that help you remain fair-minded toward your own life. There's a quiet miracle here. As your inner voice softens into strength, your external standards rise. You stop accepting the kind of love that depends on your smallness. You stop begging for validation because you already live inside a conversation that builds you. People feel the change. You don't bark. You don't perform. You carry a steadiness that says, I am on my own side, and that makes you trustworthy even to yourself. There will be backslides. A hard week, a careless comment, a mirror on a bad angle, and the old script surges. Don't panic. Return to basics. Breath, posture, ground. Then one sentence that tells the truth without cruelty. I'm hurting and I'm still capable. I'm tired and I will rest. I'm scared and I will act small anyway. The voice learns from what you repeat. Teach it. Write the standard somewhere. You will meet it in the morning. I speak to myself with power and love. Then make 1,000 small choices that honor that line, choices about rest and effort, about screens and silence, about how quickly you forgive yourself when you fall. You are not building delusion. You are installing the conditions under which a brave life becomes likely. There's a particular hush in late afternoon that used to feel like warning. The day is winding down. The noise is thinning. The empty chair across from you makes a suggestion you've avoided. Be with yourself. Most people sprint past that doorway. They fill the margins with chatter and screens, so the deeper questions can't catch up. Seneca would call that a loss. Solitude to him isn't exile, it's a school. You do not have to enroll for a semester. Start with 10 minutes of intentional aloneness. No headphones. Phone away. Sit on a park bench and let your gaze soften until the world's edges blur. Notice how often your hand twitches toward distraction. Let it fall. The first few sessions will feel like training a wild animal. Your thoughts will pace, demand, bargain. Eventually, they settle. On the other side of that settling is a voice you keep claiming you can't hear. It's been speaking the whole time. The room was just too loud. Ask questions that don't perform for anyone. What do I want independent of applause? What hurts that I refuse to name? Where am I strong and pretending not to be? Write the answers even if your pen shakes. They will be imperfect, incomplete, honest. Honesty is the point. Stoic self-love is not a spa day. It is the courage to confront the life you're actually living and to keep walking with yourself through the repairs. Arrange your environment to make this friendship likely. You don't need expensive rituals. Clear a surface and put a book where the tablet used to sit. Light early in the morning, plants at the window, a chair that meets your spine with respect. Cook for yourself like you're someone worth the trouble. Eat at a table even when no one is watching. These are not aesthetic choices. They're signals. You are safe here. You belong here. This is a home, not a holding cell between other people's plans. Treat your time alone as practice in sufficiency, not a sentence. Laugh at your own jokes. Dance in your kitchen because the song is enough. Celebrate tiny milestones before you post them, if you ever do. Take yourself out on Sundays. Walk streets with no company but your own breath. Travel somewhere alone once, not to prove anything to strangers, but to prove to yourself that you can navigate a day by listening inward without panic. Loving your own presence does not mean refusing connection. It means showing up to relationships full rather than famished. You no longer chase low-quality bonds to dodge silence. You choose high-quality ones from abundance. Clinging loosens. Begging vanishes. Your yes grows clean because your no is respected by you first. Expect awkwardness. The first dates with yourself will feel stilted. Old loneliness will knock dressed as wisdom. This is weird. People will think you have no one. Smile at the dramatics. Sit anyway. 10 minutes becomes 20, becomes a walk, becomes a ritual you miss when life gets loud. Over time, the flavor of aloneness changes from threat to sanctuary. Say it plainly, like a door code that lets you back in when the world wears you thin. I enjoy my own beautiful presence. Then use that presence as fuel, not escape, returning to your people as someone who can listen without dissolving love, without negotiating their own disappearance. You remember flashes, the hour you lost track of time writing the run, where a problem clicked at the afternoon you helped someone and forgot to be self-conscious. Those moments felt like oxygen. Then life resumed, and you were practical again. The Stoics never despised practicality. They despised living at odds with nature. Epictetus hands you a map. In one sentence, decide who you wish to be, then do what is required. That order matters. Without the decision, work becomes random penance. With it, effort becomes expression. Sit with the question until it pricks. Who am I aiming to become? Not the costume you wear for approval, not the title that photographs. Well, the person whose days you wouldn't trade when no one is looking. What skills would that person practice? What problems would they lean toward? What patterns would they refuse? Now translate identity into actions so small they embarrass your perfectionism. If you wish to be a writer, write before you announce. If you wish to be strong, train 3 movements you can track. If you wish to serve, pick a recurring act of service that can fit inside a Tuesday. Use what you have. Learn in public. Be willing to be seen mid-build. Every honest repetition is a vote. Enough votes and identity hardens into reality. Beware the counterfeit of passion that burns you to ash. Stoic ambition is sustainable. You are not a martyr to your goals. You are a steward of them. That means sleep, food, and friendship survive the schedule. It means you can say not yet to opportunities that would corrode what you're building. It means you endure boredom without throwing your life away for novelty, because mastery requires a tolerance for repetition that Instagram cannot dramatize. You will meet fear in the doorway, fear of wasting time looking foolish starting late. Welcome it. Fear is proof you've found something worth the risk. Think of the alternative, a life padded with reasonable choices that never asked for your fire. Many build that life and wonder privately why nothing feels right. The answer is simple and costly: they never chose. They were chosen by momentum, by expectation, by default. Choose. Not for applause, not to fix your worth, because your worth isn't in jeopardy, but to give your days a spine. The moment you commit, you stop negotiating with your potential. The room may not clap. It doesn't have to. You are looking for evidence, not noise, and evidence accumulates through action drafts, saved kilos, moved clients, helped lines of code that do what you asked them to do. There will be plateaus. You will question whether this was the thing after all. Don't panic. Tweak inputs. Ask for help. Take a deload week, then return. Passion is not a constant blaze. It is a managed flame. Your job is to tend it, shield it from winds that don't matter. Feed it with small, dry sticks of daily work. Let it rest so it can burn tomorrow. Mark the promise where you plan, where you bump into it. On distracted days, I honor my future with relentless, sustainable action. Then act in ways that make that sentence true enough to lean on when motivation goes missing. This is not about becoming impressive. It is about becoming inevitable. The pen scratches the page with a soft, steady sound. You list 3 things the day took from you and 3 things you gave back anyway. The ritual is simple: notice, honor, continue. We are built to spot threats. We rarely see our progress unless we trap it on paper. Without celebration, discipline turns into drudgery and self-respect into a rumor you can't quite believe. Self-love is not only boundary and effort, it is recognition. If you never acknowledge your growth, how will your mind ever trust you enough to keep going? Robert Brault's reminder is gentle and exact. Enjoy the little things. One day you may realize they were the big things, a quiet morning without dread, a lunch you ate at a table instead of at your desk, the text you didn't send in anger. These are civic acts within the city of your life. Celebration isn't arrogance, it is accurate accounting. You are not inflating the numbers, you are finally reading them. Did you get out of bed on a heavy day and take a walk? That matters. Did you hold your boundary with someone you love without weaponizing it? That matters. Did you keep your hands off your phone long enough to write one page, do 3 sets, breathe to the bottom of your ribs? That matters. Name it, or risk losing the will to repeat it. Marcus cuts through performance. Stop debating what a good person should be. Be one. Being one includes seeing what you've done well enough to reinforce it. Neuroscience agrees what you reward, you repeat. So craft small, honest rewards that keep your values intact. A bath after a long week of training, an early night after a run of early mornings, a day without metrics after a month of hard counting. Not escape honor. Install a nightly ledger. 3 lines you can manage even when you're tired. In the morning, meet your eyes in the mirror and offer a sentence you'd give to a student who is trying. I'm proud of you for showing up. You are not lying. You are pointing your attention toward what is measurably true. You tried, when it would have been easier not to. Over time, the voice inside begins to scan for evidence of progress, the way it used to scan for reasons to quit. Let celebration reshape your relationship with pace. When you can find joy in the step itself, you stop living only for finish lines. You become more consistent because the reward isn't 12 months away. It's here now in the next clean decision. Ironically, that steadiness moves you faster than self-contempt ever did. Shame sprints and then collapses. Respect walks and arrives. Notice also how celebration alters what you accept from others. A person who regularly honors their effort does not beg for praise. They appreciate it. They do not tolerate belittling. It clashes with their data. They are harder to manipulate with grand gestures because they've learned to detect the substance of a day. This is power with manners, quiet, grounded, convincing. You will have days where the win is simply, I did not make it worse. Write that. It counts. You will have weeks where you slip. Circle the day you turned back toward yourself and let that be the star. Momentum is not perfection. It is return. Each return is a small resurrection, and it deserves a line. Close the page with a sentence that sets tomorrow's tone. I honor my growth every single day. Not because every day will be obvious or pretty, but because every day offers you one honest step, and those steps taken steadily build a life you can trust. You didn't arrive here by chance. Some part of you was tired of handing your power to rooms that never kept it safe. The lesson is plain, and demanding self-love is not an indulgence. It is maintenance of the soul. Not ego, but stewardship. Not a mood, but a rhythm. There will be days you are fire, and days you forget everything you've learned. The point is not to perform flawlessness. The point is to return again and again to breath, to body, to boundary, to the voice you're training inside. Each time you choose your needs over expectation, each time you enforce a clean no, each time you soften your self-talk, you reclaim ground. You do not need the world to certify your value. when it is alive and active within you. Call this what it is, a rebirth. The moment you stop shrinking for acceptance, stop chasing the unseeing, stop betraying yourself for applause, you step into a life that fits. Say it with the weight it deserves: I will not shrink to be accepted. I will not chase what doesn't see me. I will not betray myself for approval. I show up as me, fully, freely, fiercely. And from this day forward, I love myself louder than ever before.